sir, as always, it's so wonderful to be in conversation with you, and a huge congratulations on Maidaan, which is finally releasing next week. Tell me, how are you feeling? I mean, this release date has been a long time in the process, so it must be a big sigh of relief for you, I'm sure.
Well, sigh of relief for others, but I was very sure of the content of the film. Unfortunately, the dates kept on shifting for different reasons. It was COVID which delayed the film. We were held up with the matches to be shot for almost 3 years, and after that, it was a VFX which is quite elaborate in the film. When you get to see the film, you realize. And then the post production, of course, took a lot of time. We had the background score, and everybody was so charged that everybody wanted to perfect whatever they're doing, whatever craft they were handling. So it's been a journey of some kind of hiccups on the way, courtesy the COVID and the magnitude of the VFX that we have in the film, and the passion, which probably is to the extent where every team member has decided to give the best.
Right.
That is something which took time. Finally, the product is ready, and I'm extremely happy with it. In fact, I'm proud of this product.
Yeah.
I'm sure audience also will enjoy it, and they will remember this for a long time to come, this film.
Absolutely. And I think it's very special because a lot of your collaborations with Z Studios have been quite interesting, intriguing, because obviously there've been a lot of them have been South films. Last year I think you did a film called Thunivu with Ajit as well, and
Yes,
now
that's right.
and also with this film, it marks a reunion of sorts as well.
Well, we did company together. Now this is the second film.
Exactly. So it's been such a nice sort of reunion of sorts. So I think for you, how do you feel you all as creatives, from when you began till now, have evolved over time when it comes to your sort of decisions you make artistically?
See, fortunately, the entire team has been in sync, right from the actors to the technicians to us, the producers, me, Akash, Joy, and the Z Studio. So we all have been in sync. We all have been through this journey. There have been hurdles, of course, and we've overcome them finally with honors, I should say, at the cost of being immodest.
Right. And I think also it's very special because it's obviously your first kind of, in a sense, your first sort of biographical historical film, right? Like in terms of you producing as well.
Yeah, my first sports film, my first film
Your
on
first
sports.
sports film as well. So when it comes to first as well, Bonnie, sir, at this stage, when you've obviously got so much experience on your hands, when you've obviously been a really huge part of this industry for many, many years, how have you learned to cope with first experiences at this point in your life in juncture?
Well, every day is a learning process, and sometimes you learn through hard times, sometimes you learn through good things that happen on your way to this. In this journey, there are many things which you have got to cross over, get over, and at the same time, I mean, however painful they may be, you should take it in your stride for the end result to be good.
And I think when you first discovered about Syed Abdul Rahim's story, which is obviously what Maidaan is based on, it's about the football coach.
True.
What was your reaction like? And why do you think that perhaps his story has not been covered in Hindi cinema till date?
Well, unfortunately, it has not. In fact, there was hardly any material on Syed Abdul Rahim on the Wikipedia. I mean, except for one mention here and there. Finally, it's only after that we started this film that there is some material on Wikipedia about him. Syed Abdul Rahim has he started his career as a football player. He played for some club in Netherlands, I think, and after that he came to Hyderabad. He was a kind of a professor in some college, and passion for football never went off his mind, and that's how he got back to his first club, that was football, and got to train the players from local Hyderabad team. And then finally, he became the coach of the Indian team, picked up players from all over the country. And the result was for everybody to see. Of course, he also went through his hardship. Like we've been through our hardships. He was also, I mean, he also had a good share of hardships. You know, the first match that he coached the Indian team for was in Helsinki, and Indian players were playing barefoot. And as you will see in the film, it was Finland. Helsinki, of course, was a very cold place, and it was raining, so it made it all the more. The struggle became all the more bigger, all the more intense. Playing barefoot in that slushy mud because of the rain and because of the winter caused a lot of pain to them physically also, mentally also. They were not really. And then in India in those days, the football was played only for 70. We had 70 minutes tournament, and internationally they had 90 minutes tournament. So all these things were a little mismatched. So he got everything streamlined. He got the players who had shoes. He got the Indian federation to make football to be played in 90 minutes, as was the international case, as in played internationally. So all these things are the reforms that he brought about. He picked up some fantastic players. His first, I think his first reason for rejoice or this thing was India reached the semi-finals in Melbourne Olympics, and which means India was amongst the top 4 teams. And that's the reason this phase is called the golden era of Indian football.
Right. Yeah, and I think,
even in Rome, when India didn't reach any milestone, it played really well. That's the reason the FIFA president came up to the team, the green room where the team was probably chatting after. They were gathered together, and he came and said, "You all played very well." In fact, we have those shots where the entire stadium is chanting, India played well, India played well. And he complimented the team, he complimented the coach. In fact, he felt this Indian team was the Brazil of Asia.
Wow, it's amazing. It's incredible. Honestly, it's such an unsung hero, jaisa hum kehte hain, and I think it's wonderful to kind of see nowadays that we're seeing such stories evolve where they are about unsung people who have had such a big impact on the sort of socio-economical, political.
Unfortunately, basically the person who took football to glory was unsung. Today we are not even in top 100.
Yeah.
During his time, his tenure, he took the Indian team to. It remained in top 10 for a period of time. And then he had to face the hurdles even in the federation office, where because the office was based out of Calcutta, and those days it was today Kolkata. Those days it was Calcutta. He had a lot of issues to face, and he solved most of them, and he kept to stand. He stuck to his stand.
And also, I was going to literally say as well, because I feel like we've been seeing so many of these stories as well. Like Z Studios recently had a film called Savarkar, which came out recently, which again talks about someone who is unsung. And I think that somehow the audiences are wanting to see stories that are actually reflective about our history and what we've gone through. So I think, Bonnie, so what do you think has really contributed towards this whole demand of seeing these unsung stories? And I think with someone like yourself, who is obviously champion stories about underdogs throughout your films, right? You've always had that underdog sort of a character. Like even if we take Millie, for example, what do you think has really persuaded you to really, take up these sort of films as well?
See, when I heard this plot, my partners Joy and Akash, they brought this plot to me. They narrated this plot to me, and I was hooked on to it right from day one. And I told them, yes, we will do this film together. And the journey started then. And after that, of course, there were writers which were brought in. There was Simon, there was Ritesh Shah, and there were a few other writers who chipped in too. So what finally you will see on screen is something which is the labor of love of many people who put their hearts together, heart and mind together. Identify how, what exactly, I mean, I've been an underdog myself.
Exactly my point.
See, I've, my family has grown up under the shadows of Raj Kapoor family, Shami Kapoor family. My father has learned the craft, had learned the craft with in the shadow of Mughal Azam, Asif and his team. So we've all had our share of going through the learning curve as underdogs, and I still feel I am still learning. This is my 45th film as an independent producer. There are many more to come, and every day is a learning curve for me too.
Right, absolutely. No, wonderful. It's always great to see that. Thank you so much, Bonisa, for joining me on filmishilmy.com. It's always so wonderful to see you. Last time we met was like years ago when you were here in London, so it's nice to see you
Yeah,
again, though through virtually.
that's true. See you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Bye bye. Amit, it's so great to finally be doing our interview. We've been in touch since since Badhaai Ho, and now you've got Maidaan finally releasing. So talk to me about the process of it all, because it's gone through a massive turbulence. And obviously for you it was a really huge, ambitious project. So how have you really, where have you got that patience and that, sort of determination from throughout this whole process?
While making this film, what the most like the biggest thing was that I learned to become patient.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's been a very long journey of almost 5.5 years for me. In June, it will be 6 years on this film. 2018, my second film came, Badhaai Ho, and now it's 2024. So yeah, lots of patience, lots of work has gone into it.
Hmm.
I was very clear that while making this film, I don't want to do any other film with it. Though I had a lot of offers and like scripts and with actors and all that, but I said no to everything because I just did not want to you know divert myself to something else, because this film needed a lot of hand holding, a lot of love, a lot of care, because you're telling a story of a person, a man nobody knows about him, and it was my responsibility that I tell the story in the best possible way. And now is the time, it's coming out, and I'm happy.
Right. No, it's wonderful. And I think just knowing more about Syed Abdul Rahim, I mean, he's such a huge champion and I think a really massive pioneer of the golden age of football in Indian history. But yet, uh, somehow his pages in the history books have not even been there. He's almost in a way undocumented in so many
Yeah.
ways. And I think when I spoke with Bonnie sir, he also said that there was hardly any information accessible on him. So how much did you, as a filmmaker, really have to go back to the basics when it comes to research and actually getting all that information that you needed for the film?
So there's no book written, there's no not many articles, not many pictures also of his, you know. So it was difficult for us to gather a lot of information about him, and so we got in touch with the players, the some of the players. I had the opportunity, and मेरा भाग्य अच्छा था कि मैं उनसे मिलने का मौका मिल गया. I could
Hmm.
meet them, like Chumi Goswami Sahab, PK sir, Franco sir, Balaram sir, so Arun Ghosh Sahab, so Hakim Sahab, who's his own son. So we met them and did my research to the extent that because one, I wanted to know about Mr. Rahim and all the players.
Hmm.
Two, I wanted to know about the era also, because the film is from 1952 to 1962, and nobody has seen that era. My father is born in 1952, so in like 1950. So what he could tell me, what he could remember was from 62 to 65, that kind of a thing. So I wanted to be true to the era, true to the story, true to the characters. I even researched about that, whether a safety pin was there at that time or not. You know,
Wow.
uh, whether plastic in terms of clear polythene was there at that time or not. So even if I used a car in the film, which year this car, which make the car is, and whether it was there in 1952 or not, whether it is before that or after that. So research in terms of researching about Rahim Sahab, what kind of person, what kind of personality he was, uh, that I got to know from all the players, from his son, what kind of a family man he was, what kind of a person he was at home. Um, and after gathering all these information, I created Syed Abdul Rahim in my head,
Mm-hmm.
and that is played by Mr. Ajay Devgn, which you
Yeah.
will see.
Absolutely. Now, I think the one beautiful thing about you, Amit, is, and I think even with Bonnie sir as well, I think in his in his productions that he's had, in fact, I think whatever was your first directorial film that you did, and again, over time, you've known how to really showcase the story of underdogs. That are based in the heartlands of India, even whether it's even Badhaai Ho with Neena Gupta's character, or even Kajol in Love Stories too, that you've managed to really bring out that flavor of heroism in different sort of unassuming ways. Where do you think this drive for you in presenting such stories have come from? And where do you think that inspiration of basing them from the heartlands of India has come from as well?
I'm actually from Delhi, and my learning is actually from my family. Actually, so you learn actually from your own home. I believe in that. So the basics. Uh, when you're a kid, you actually observe things, and at that time you don't know whether you want to become a director or you want to become an actor and all those things. So my memories, it just comes alive in my head. Uh, you know, and I just put myself as that character of that film. How I would react at that point of time, when if I'm in this situation. Um, Stories I select which are closer to my heart, which are emotional stories, and I love telling emotional stories, which are uh, and it needs to have some kind of meaning. It needs to have some kind of uh, people needs to go back home with something when they're watching the film. Either the character or the story or the feeling what they've got while watching the film, whether it is Badhaai Ho or my ad films or Love Story or Maidaan now. Uh, if the film can actually create some kind of a question in their head, which the answer is there in the film, and they think about the film when they go back home. That is what I just try to do. That is what I just try to. Uh, I don't force myself to do that, but the kind of stories I'm picking up now, it just dwells me into that I try to tell the stories which
Hmm.
will mean something to people when they
Sure.
watch.
And I think also, beginning from Badhaai Ho, because again, it was, we were talking about underdog and it being very unassuming. I mean, that really took, the box office by storm because of how a simple story yet can have such a big impact. And of course, Ayushmann Khurrana obviously was a big star in that as well. But over time, once you obviously ended up working with Ajay Devgn here, then you had Kajol in Love Stories too. So you've obviously worked with, more and more legends in that sense. But how do you, as a filmmaker, when it comes to the sort of commercial reaction that you've got, or perhaps the expectations that has come from Badhaai Ho, how tough has it been for you to not lose your simplicity and your vision as a filmmaker, because at the cost of it being a commercial or mainstream film? How difficult has it been to balance all of that?
I while selecting the film or while shooting the film, I really don't think about the box office. What will happen in box office, because then I am only thinking about box office and writing the script. I keep that thing aside and I try to tell the story which is coming out straight from the heart. If the film is good, money will follow. I believe in that. Box office will be good, will be amazing. Uh, but the kind of story you're telling, I want to be true to that. That's the first thing I tell myself, that, why am I thinking this scene? Oh, this is a claptrap. Oh, people are going to love this. Oh, there is no claptrap. Why? Oh, I need to put one more claptrap. That's not the way I write the script. That's not the way I think about the stories. Uh, if naturally that claptrap is coming, uh, it'll be there in the film. If it is not needed, just to add something, I will not add that. If it is not needed, I will not add it to my script. Um, so the simple thing is that while writing film or while shooting film, I'm not thinking of the box office. I'm thinking of telling the story in the most possible, most honest way possible.
Right, wonderful. Well, look, Maidaan definitely does seem to be another labor of love, of yours, and I think the entire team. And Amit, you know how fond I am of your work as a filmmaker, and I still remember when Badhaai Ho, because it won like so many awards, and I was so happy because I could see that labor of love that was genuinely went in that film. And I think it's a similar thing here. I think it's even more, more important for us because it's gone through so much upheaval as well in the process of it being released. So I think we're very curious to see how the product has evolved. And it's your first historical film as well. So it's a big canvas, I'm sure, for you.
Yes, it is. It is.
Wonderful. All right, Amit, thank you so much for joining me on filmeshilmy.com. I'll definitely catch up with you later for sure and let you know what I thought of the film.
Thank you, Anuj. Thank you so much. Nice
Thank
talking
you.
to you.
Nice
Bye.
talking to you. Bye bye.